The night she told me she couldn't sleep without me was the same night she texted another man goodnight. 13 years of marriage. One home, one bed, one heartbeat, and one secret that was about to destroy everything. My name is Ethan. For 13 years I woke up to the same smile, the one I thought was home. My wife, Claire, was the kind of woman who made mornings feel like Sundays even on Mondays. She'd hum while making coffee, tap my shoulder with that playful grin, and say, "Don't be late, you know how you get when you skip breakfast." We weren't rich, just comfortable. A small house in the suburbs, 2 kids, and a routine that felt safe. Too safe, maybe. Every evening, I'd drive home and see the lights glow through the curtains. It was the warmest sight in the world. But even the warmest homes can hide a chill beneath the floorboards. It started subtle. Claire stopped talking while we ate. The music in the kitchen changed, from soft love songs to songs about freedom, escape, and being unapologetically me. At first I laughed it off. After all, people change, right? But then she started taking her phone everywhere, even into the shower. I'd hear her giggle in the hallway at midnight. Once I asked, "What's so funny this late?" She said, "Oh, just a meme Sarah sent." Except Sarah was asleep by 10. Always. The trust didn't break in a snap, it cracked slowly, like ice under a boot. One evening, she came home late from yoga. Her hair was damp, but not from sweat. Her eyes avoided mine. When I hugged her, she smelled different, a new perfume. Not cheap, not hers. She pulled away and said, "I'm just tired." And then the distance grew. We shared the same bed but slept in different worlds. The kids didn't notice. Or maybe they did and pretended not to. Children are smarter than we think. One Saturday morning, while she showered, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I swear I had no intention of touching it. But curiosity is a cruel thing. The screen lit up, a message preview. "Last night was perfect. Can't stop thinking about you." My stomach dropped. I didn't open it, I just stared until the screen dimmed again. When she came out, wrapped in a towel and smiling like nothing was wrong, I said nothing. Because I didn't want to believe what I'd seen. That day, I cleaned the garage for 5 hours straight. It was easier to fight dust than face my own thoughts. I told myself maybe it was a friend. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I was crazy. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I watched her roll over and smile in her dream. And for the first time in 13 years, I felt alone while lying right next to her. Days passed in quiet chaos. Her phone never left her side. Her eyes lit up at messages she'd hide with a swipe. And each time she said, "I love you," a part of me died because it sounded rehearsed. Still, I pretended everything was normal, the perfect husband in the perfect family. But inside I was keeping count of every lie, every late night, every forced smile. Then came the moment I could no longer ignore it. She left her laptop open on the table, an email draft half written, addressed to someone named Daniel. The subject line read, "I can't keep lying to him." If you're feeling the tension already, hit that like button. It helps more people find stories that hit straight in the heart. The morning after I saw that email draft, everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. The kitchen still smelled like coffee. The kids still fought over cereal. The sun still poured through the curtains like it always did. But I couldn't taste my breakfast. I couldn't look at her the same way. She was standing by the sink, hair tied up, humming softly, like every other day for 13 years. Except now, I knew that melody was fake. Every note was a lie. I wanted to ask her right there, "Who is he?" But the words wouldn't come out. My throat burned, my heart raced, and I just froze. Instead, I kissed her on the forehead, pretending everything was fine. Pretending was easier than knowing. That night, I sat in my car outside the house after work, engine off, just staring at the front door. The same door we painted together on our 2nd anniversary. The same door I carried her through when we first moved in. Now it felt like the entrance to a stranger's home. I didn't want to go inside. Because I already knew, once I stepped in, I'd see her smile, hear her laugh, and hate myself for loving her still. But I did. And she was there, sitting on the couch, scrolling on her phone, legs curled under her, the picture of comfort. She looked up and smiled. "You're home early." "Yeah," I said quietly. "Missed you." That was a lie. I didn't miss her. I missed who she used to be. Over the next few days, I became an observer in my own life. I watched her carefully, her words, her tone, her little habits. And every time her phone buzzed, she smiled in a way she hadn't smiled at me in months. Once, I caught her standing in front of the mirror, whispering something to herself before leaving for yoga. When I asked what she said, she looked startled. Then she laughed. "Just psyching myself up." Psyching up for yoga? No. She was psyching herself up for a lie. Friday night, she came home late. I was sitting on the porch, pretending to be half asleep in the chair. When her car lights flashed, I looked up slowly. She got out, adjusting her dress, not yoga pants, not even close. She froze when she saw me. "You're still up?" I said nothing. Just looked at her, long enough to make her uncomfortable. She stammered, "We had a get-together after class. I told you, remember?" I nodded slowly. "Yeah. You told me." And for a moment, her eyes flinched, because she knew I didn't believe her. That night I lay awake. She was beside me, breathing softly, phone under her pillow. And that was when I realized the person sleeping next to me wasn't my wife anymore. She was a stranger with my wife's face. My chest ached. You don't understand heartbreak until you love someone who's already gone, but still there, pretending nothing changed. The next morning, I couldn't take it anymore. When she went for a shower, I picked up her phone. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type her passcode, our anniversary date. The irony almost made me laugh. The phone opened. And right there, at the top of her messages, was the name, Daniel. I clicked. My eyes scanned the screen like I was falling down a cliff I couldn't stop. "I wish I could see you again tonight. You make me feel alive again. He doesn't even notice me anymore." Then his reply. "You don't belong with him. You belong with me." And finally, her photo, smiling in a car that wasn't ours. Her hand on his chest. Her necklace shining under the streetlight, the same one I gave her on our 10th anniversary. I stared until my vision blurred. My hands trembled. My chest felt hollow. All those years, every joke, every fight, every promise, gone in a few words and a picture. I didn't even hear her step out of the shower. She saw me sitting on the bed, her phone in my hand. For a split second, she froze, then said softly, "Ethan, it's not what you think." I laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was broken, jagged, hollow. "Then tell me what it is, Claire. Tell me how sleeping with another man isn't what I think." She sat down beside me, tears already forming. "It just happened, Ethan. I didn't mean to." I stood up. "You didn't mean to? You meant every text. Every lie. Every night you left this house." She started crying harder, saying, "I was lonely. You were always working, distant, tired." "Lonely?" I interrupted. "So your solution was Daniel?" Her sobs turned to silence. For the first time, she looked small, scared. But all I felt was emptiness. I said quietly, "You killed us, Claire. Not with one mistake, but with 1,000 small choices." Then I walked out of the room. I didn't sleep that night. I drove aimlessly around the city, no destination, no music, just my thoughts. I stopped once at an empty gas station and sat there for nearly an hour, staring at nothing. 13 years. I had built my life around her. My trust, my plans, my everything. And she tore it apart for someone she barely knew. The next few days, she tried to act like nothing happened. She made breakfast, packed the kids' lunches, smiled like the world wasn't burning. But I wasn't the same. I moved differently. Spoke differently. The man she cheated on was gone, replaced by someone colder, quieter, calculating. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. Because now, I wasn't looking for answers. I was building something else, a plan. I started checking her routine, her work hours, her yoga schedule that didn't exist. And I waited. One evening, she said she was going out for some fresh air. I followed. Slowly. Quietly. She drove 15 miles across town to a small hotel parking lot. I parked across the street, lights off, watching. A few minutes later he arrived, Daniel. Young. Confident. The kind of man who probably thought being desired by another man's wife made him powerful. They hugged. Then she looked up at him like he was her world. And they kissed. Long, slow. Familiar. I felt nothing. No rage. No tears. Just silence. It's strange. The moment your heart finally breaks, it doesn't explode. It goes quiet. Like a dying engine that just runs out of fuel. I watched them walk inside the hotel. My hands gripped the steering wheel until my palms hurt. Every instinct in me wanted to storm in, to scream, to expose them. But something stronger held me back. Because I realized, this wasn't the end. Not yet. I wanted her to feel what I felt, not for a moment, but for the rest of her life. So I waited. Waited for her to return home, pretending nothing happened. That night, when she came in, she looked tired but calm. She smiled faintly and said, "Hey." I nodded, pretending to scroll through my phone. She kissed my cheek, a ghost of a gesture, and went upstairs. I followed her later. She was already asleep, breathing softly. I stood there, watching her. The woman who used to be my home. Now she was just a stranger lying in my bed. I whispered, "You won't see this coming, Claire. You'll never forget it." Days turned into weeks. We played the same act, husband and wife, family dinners, fake laughter. She thought I had forgiven her. She thought the silence meant peace. But it wasn't peace. It was preparation. She didn't know that I had already started recording things. Saving copies of messages, photos, receipts, the hotel logs, everything. I wasn't going to confront her again. No. I was going to let her world crumble, piece by piece. Because sometimes, revenge isn't loud. Sometimes, it's quiet, patient, poetic. If you're still with me through this heartbreak, make sure to subscribe. More real, painful, and shocking stories like this drop every day on Betrayal Tells. I used to think silence was peace. But after that night, the night I saw her lies unfold, I learned silence can be loud enough to tear your mind apart. The house that once smelled of her perfume now smelled like betrayal. The photos on the wall mocked me. The ring on my finger felt like a joke I was too slow to get. 4 days I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just sat in the living room, watching the front door, waiting for something, maybe guilt, to walk back in. It never did. When she finally called, her voice trembled. "Can we talk?" she said. I didn't answer. I let her words die in the air, the same way she'd let our love die behind my back. But pain has a strange rhythm. After enough nights of it, something inside you clicks. You stop asking why. You start thinking, what now? And that's when revenge stopped being about her. It became about me, taking back everything her lies had stolen from me. My pride. My calm. My power. I started living like a ghost in my own house. Cold, quiet, observing. She thought I was broken. She was wrong. I was becoming dangerous. I learned her patterns. Her favorite lies. Her new routine. She didn't know that I knew everything, that the man she betrayed me with was her boss. She didn't know that every text, every picture, every call was already saved, neatly, silently, waiting. But I didn't want to scream, or expose her in front of the world. I wanted her to see herself, clearly, for once, in the mirror of her own actions. So I started to change things. Quietly. Strategically. I withdrew my savings. I moved our joint business under my own name. I canceled every card she used, except one, the one she used for her secret dinners. And then I waited. A week later, she came home early, acting normal, pretending to care about dinner, about me, about us. She said, "Maybe we can start over." I smiled. I even poured her a glass of wine. She didn't notice that the dining table, the same one where we once shared laughter, was now bare, except for one small envelope. "What's that?" she asked, reaching for it. "Proof," I said softly. Inside were the pictures, the messages, the dates. She froze. Her lips trembled. "Who gave you this?" I leaned back in my chair. "You did." There was no shouting. No drama. Just silence. Because nothing I could say would hurt her more than the realization that I knew everything and still chose calm over chaos. That calm scared her. And for the first time in months, I watched her break. The next morning, she packed her bags. No tears, no excuses, just shame. But before she left, she asked, "Will you ever forgive me?" I looked at her, really looked. The woman I once built my world around, now just a stranger with my memories. "I already did," I said. "Forgiveness isn't for you. It's for me." And I meant it. Months passed. I rebuilt my life piece by piece. I focused on my work, my health, my peace. But I wasn't done yet. Her boss, the man she cheated with, was married too. And unlike her, his wife deserved to know the truth. So one day, with a calm heart and a clear mind, I sent a single email. No words, no accusations, just the evidence. That was it. No violence. No public humiliation. Just truth, delivered in silence. And that silence did what revenge never could. It ended everything. A year later, I saw her again. She looked different, tired, lost. Her affair had destroyed her job, her marriage, and her confidence. She walked up to me, her eyes soft, regretful. "I think about you every day," she said. I smiled. "I don't," I replied. And in that moment I knew. My revenge was never about hurting her. It was about remembering who I was before she broke me. She walked away in tears. I walked away in peace. That night, I stood outside under the same sky we once shared. The stars hadn't changed, only I had. Betrayal taught me that love isn't about who stays. It's about who you become after they leave. And maybe, just maybe, some endings are blessings that look like heartbreak at first. If this story touched your heart or reminded you of your own experience, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have a story like this, send it to us. Your story could be the next one featured on Betrayal Tells.